Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. Today is Thursday, April 14th, day 2 of the NHL playoffs. We are talking with SBR contributing handicapper Dana Lane, who gave us a lot of great analysis yesterday. Dana Lane, great call on the amazing call on the under in the St. Louis game, and you know, the over in the Tampa Bay game. You got to push on that one. I tweeted out the Tampa Bay team total over 2.5. I mentioned it in the video that I like that a little bit more than even the full game total, and that one did cash. It was only minus 125. Dana Lane.
Sure. I mean, great job on that, Pete. I mean, I definitely could see where you were coming from on that. But, you know, like we talked about, we went, 30 minutes into that game and they scored 5 goals. And you thought, well, even if they don't score, maybe the empty netter at the end. And then we got nothing, but we got the push at least.
Well, no, that was a great call on the over anyway. It was a push and an awesome call on the St. Louis under. And we got 4 games today, all interesting. We'll see what you have to say about it. Let's start with Philly, Washington. Now, we've discussed this. Philly came on strong at the end of the year, and that wasn't a fluke. Their 5-on-5 metrics were great, as compared with Washington, whose regular season overall 5-on-5 stats are not that spectacular, considering that they won the President's Trophy. I think Washington's going to get a big fight here. They have the edge in talent, but at this line, Philly at plus like 190, maybe that's worth a shot. What do you think?
Maybe, but I'm not ready to put my money behind the Philadelphia Flyers at this point. I have to see them play a little bit better against the Washington Capitals than they had during the course of the regular season. But what I do like, Pete, and especially in these early round games where it's kind of a feeling out process, I really like the goal line in this. And I know it's a little bit higher than what we normally like to play, but Philadelphia plus 1.5, minus 55 looks pretty appealing to me. You're getting a pretty good number. You're getting the best of the number. And like you said, Philadelphia's metrics are amazing. They have the highest save percentage of any team 5-on-5.
Yeah.
And they also have the highest save percentage 5-on-5 when trailing. So obviously to me, that just says, let's go out and play smart, physical hockey. And if we can stay within, 1 or 2 goals during the course of the game, I think at the end we got a real good shot at cashing that ticket plus 1.5.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. And what do you think? Do you think that Philly's tough physical style is going to control the scoring here? I mean, it's kind of a low total considering that Washington can't put up the points easily.
Yeah, and where Philadelphia gets in trouble with this is their penalty kill, and with a team that kind of hovers around mediocrity. When you're great 5-on-5, I immediately went and looked at 5-on-4. So what they do is they tumble from number 1 on 5-on-5 all the way to 18th on 5-on-4, which is not, a lot of teams tumble when they're on the penalty kill. But that to me is a big sign that says, look, just stay out of the penalty box. Play disciplined hockey, because you don't want to give a team like the Washington Capitals any more opportunity than you have to, because they're clearly the better of the 2 teams.
Yeah, all right. Well, you're liking Philly plus 1.5, and I'm feeling the same way. I might actually take a shot with Philly at plus 194 at BetOnline. You can even get interesting game. Then let's move on to the Islanders and Florida. Now, we've discussed in our previews so far, we're both kind of high on Florida. You actually believed that Florida has the best value in terms of their line value to win the East, and I would agree with that. They were about plus 660 in our video to win the East at Pinnacle, and here they are, their first game against the Islanders. The Islanders have injury issues. It's not a huge line, minus 135 at Heritage. The worst line you can get, I think, is minus 140 market wide. What about a shot with Florida? Straight favorite to win, minus 135 or 140. What do you think?
Yeah, I think what we're going to do tonight, and I kind of want to just take a step back and watch these first couple games, especially the first game. I think what we're going to do with this one is we're going to go under in the first period. It's minus 133 at Pinnacle right now, so you're getting a pretty decent number. You don't have to lay a ton. We're going to go under on this, and the reason why I want to go under is I want to see how the loss of Anders Lee affects the Islanders offensively. And with Anders, with Anders being out, I mean, you have a big body out of that lineup, and so you have a Kuhlman that's going to come in and take his spot. But offensively, they're not the same player. Although Kuhlman's a fantastic player, but he's more of a defensive player where Anders can give you a little bit of each. So I like this under in the first period until kind of the Islanders settle in a little bit.
Okay, that makes sense to me. And I think my pick on the game is just going to be Florida at minus 135. And now let's move on to Minnesota-Dallas. Of course, Dallas, a very interesting team, the top seed in the West, but the 7th choice to win the Stanley Cup. 6 other teams opened with shorter odds than Dallas. So obviously, Dallas not getting a lot of respect. We know why that is. They give up a lot of goals, but they score a lot more. And sometimes in the playoffs, that's kind of a team makeup that can do very well and be very flashy in the regular season and then falter in the playoffs. But Dallas is getting healthier here, and Minnesota, a tough, scrappy team, a big underdog, but they have some pretty serious injury issues. The Baris is out, their scoring guys are out. They have a lot of, obviously Dubnyk can win a game all by himself, but if he doesn't do that, I don't see how Minnesota wins here. I'm thinking about maybe taking a shot with the over. Right now it's 5, minus 135 or minus 140 market wide. What do you think?
Well, personally, I'm going to stay away from this, but for the sake of making a play on this line is way higher than what we like to see. But I just don't see value in any other options besides going with Minnesota plus the 1.5. And I know it's around $1.80, and that's extremely high. So you might want to just lay off of this. But here's the thing with this. You have Zach Parise, like you mentioned, is going to be out of the lineup. So now it's time for Jason Zucker, who is going to be on that top line, who's going to skate with Koivu and Charlie Coyle. And to me, I don't think this is I think the bettors are looking at this in the wrong way. I think they're running to the window thinking, hey, Tyler Seguin might play, and now Jason Zucker is going to be out of the lineup. I think this looks easy. But what happens is a lot of times, and I know Jason a little bit, and I know that Jason's going to take this opportunity and really maximize the opportunity that's given. And I think that top line is going to play pretty well. I think they're going to stay close. I think Dubnyk's going to have a big game. But the only really, for the sake of giving an opinion, it's going to be Minnesota. But I hate to give up that $1.80 or plus 1.5.
All right, so officially, as far as a bet is concerned, it's going to be a pass for you. But if you had to give a pick, it would be Minnesota plus 1.5. And what's your problem with the over 5 at about minus 135 or minus 140? Why don't you like that?
Well, first of all, we don't know what goaltender is going to start for Dallas tonight. Kari Lehtinen and the MA, they're still completely undecided in that. Because of that fact, I know the MA has played a little bit better than Lehtinen right now. So I want to. Man, and Pete, with goaltending in Dallas, you just don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
And if Tyler Seguin is back in that lineup, you don't know if that's going to be a hindrance or a help to them offensively, because we don't, at this time of year, there's guys that might be out a week that don't stay out that long because it's playoff time. So I just don't know what I'm going to get with them offensively yet until I see a game and I'm confident that Tyler Seguin is back 100%.
Okay, fair enough. But I'm personally definitely leaning towards the over. That might be incorrect lean, but that's what I'm feeling right now. And then let's move on to San Jose, LA. Very interesting series for anyone who doesn't remember. 2 years ago in 2014, that was when the LA Kings were down 3-0 in the opening round against San Jose, came back to win 4 in a row, and then went on to win the Stanley Cup. So they almost got swept in the first round, then went on to win the Stanley Cup. And of course, just from this year's results, it's interesting as well because San Jose was just awesome on the road, right? They were just a great team. They were extremely profitable on the road. They won, their record, I believe, was 28 and 10 or something like that, just something crazy. Yeah. And they're an underdog here at plus 125 market wide. LA is about minus 135 on the other side. And then also what's interesting is that that first round series that they played 2 years ago, you might think because of the style of play that you would that this would be a low-scoring series and it would go under. But the first 4 games in that series went way over the total. All of them went soaring over. So maybe if we see a repeat of that, the over 5 at just minus 105 would also be a bet we would consider. What's your take on this one, Dana Lane?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this. I mean, I like San Jose a little bit better than I like the Kings. But in this situation, there's been a couple developments going into this game where I might take a chance. I'm going to take a chance on the Kings in the first game. And certainly defensively between the two, I like the Kings, especially if they get a lead. But we've seen where Marian Gaborik had practiced with a team on Wednesday. Daryl Sutter seems to be extremely secretive about his status for this game, which leads me to believe that he would get some ice time. And if he does get some ice time, this is going to give them one of their top forwards back, and one of the top forwards that has a tremendous amount of speed. And oh yeah, by the way, there's a possible return of Alex Martinez, who would give that defensive unit a boost. He's certainly one of their top 3 defensive D-men. He has tremendous passing skills, which is extremely important when you're trying to get the puck out of your own zone. He's a plus 16 on the season, which is fantastic. Both teams are healthy, so really health is not going to be that big of an advantage for either team, especially with the return of these players. But tonight, let's go ahead and side with the better of the two teams. I don't love quick save percentage this year, but comparing it to Martin Jones, it's right around the same. And again, as all these teams are going to feel each other out to begin the series, I'm going to feel them out from a betting standpoint as well. But let's take a chance with LA tonight, getting a good number. The bettors are on San Jose, so let's go against the bettors tonight.
Okay, right now it's about minus 135 or 40 market wide. The best line, though, minus 133, and that is at Heritage. And let me just quickly ask you about the total there. The total, the games, as I said, when they played 2 years ago in the first round, were extremely high scoring. The over was a great bet every game. The next 3 games after the first 4 also went 1-1-1, so only 1 game went under in that entire 7-game series. Very reasonable price here, 5 minus 105. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, again, it really depends to me if Martinez plays, if their defensive unit is intact. I don't love these 5 numbers, and I know I'd rather get a 4.5 than a 5 because a lot of times you have an under in these games, and you think, or you have an over in these games, and a lot of times what happens is, it gets into the second period, and I can see where this will be a 1-1 game in the second period, and especially in the playoffs where teams have more of a tendency to put 4 guys up at the blue line and really dare you to beat them with your speed. And then we've seen on the flip side of this where you have a 5 and that game is under for most of the time, and then it's a 2-2 game and you lose with an empty netter at the end.
Yeah.
With teams trying to obviously get the game tying goal. But so I don't love these 5 numbers in the playoffs. You're not going to see a lot of 5.5s, but I tend to kind of stay away until I get a feel for the way that both teams are going to play.
All right, Dana Lane, awesome thoughts. As always, if I had to pin you down on one bet that you think is the best bet out of all these 4 games, what would it be?
I think what we're going to do, the best one for me is going to be the Islanders, Florida, under that 1.5 in the first period.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Dana. We'll be back tomorrow to cover the Friday games.
Thanks, Pete. Have a great day.